Hello, everybody, those that have joined here in person, as well as those of you zooming in. Another exciting day. I feel like we have done this very regularly this year, but no less exciting each time it happens. And we are here to officially welcome Cristian Tello to LAFC. It is no surprise to you, as it was announced a few weeks ago, but we are certainly grateful. We have now completed the immigration process, and Cristian will be available to travel with the team to Dallas and be available for our games for the remainder of the season. And that is something that we are really looking forward to. We do believe that Cristian fit the criteria as to what we were looking for. As we evaluated the various moves that were being made at LAFC of players coming and going, and we were looking for the right complement to the group, Cristian's name rose to the top of the list. His playing career speaks for itself. He's played hundreds of games in different top leagues in Europe. He was schooled in arguably the best setup in world football at the time at Barcelona. And we are really excited to see what he adds to this group. We love his versatility. He's got great attacking ideas. He's a highly intelligent player. He's an experienced player. He's won multiple trophies. He's played for one of the best national teams in the world, both at the youth level and senior level, played at high-level European competition. One thing that struck me at the outset of our conversations is how excited he was to come to not just to Los Angeles, but to LAFC. Had the chance to speak with his wife Lorena as well, and we know it's an adventure that they also are excited about it. So we are really, really excited to welcome Cristian to LAFC. And now we will open for questions.
Hey John, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
You're getting pretty good at this, bringing in players and doing the immigration and all that. It seems like it's been a real education for you guys on that end. But I wanted to ask about a previous signing, because when Gareth came in, you went through this. That seemed to me to be an unusual thing in that he wanted to come and play at LAFC, but he also wanted to get fit for the World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think that's going? He's only played, his longest stint is 60 minutes. Do you think, he's giving you what you wanted, he's getting what he came to get as far as the World Cup? Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think, look, we knew when we signed Gareth, he hadn't played a ton of games recently, and all of this, we did all of our research, and I think Gareth has contributed when he's been on the field. I think, obviously, for all of us, the more he's on the field, the better, but we knew it would be a long process that we weren't going to rush, and we feel like Gareth's in a great spot to continue to help us win. He's helped us win multiple games already, and I think that's a trend that will continue.
And you think he's getting what he wanted? Do you think he's getting fit and ready for Qatar? Do you feel like that's going well?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
John, every move is unique.
This is the famous Vince.
No, please don't. Every move is unique, but as you've said with some of these guys, they kind of fit into buckets. Could you kind of tell us how the Cristian move came about and kind of how it fit into the strategy?
Yeah, I think everything is different. Everything is a case-by-case basis, and I'll be transparent about the process here. We were evaluating whether we were going to sell Brian Rodriguez or not, and one thing that we were very clear on is we were not going to move players that significantly compromised our competitiveness this year. And at the timing at which we were making the decision with Brian, our window was closed, and therefore there was a very narrow pool of players whom we could sign who were out of contract at the close of our last window. And so all of these decisions, I say all that because all these decisions are interdependent, and we were only willing to make certain decisions provided we could do other things. And so we moved very quickly with Cristian. I would say, thankfully, he's not a player, given his track record and his experience, that you needed to go back and scout heavily years and years and years like we do with some of our other targets. So I would say the process went much quicker than normal because it was a much smaller group of players that were available to us at the time, and he was the only one that really met the criteria that we felt is a player that we could sign that would help us in our objectives, not just now, but into the future. So all of those components go into the decision. But what was unique about this one is from first conversation to completion, it was a much shorter time frame than is typical for us.
You obviously got the player that you wanted. I'm just curious about that rule. Is that something you'd like to see changed? They have to be a free agent at the time the window's open. Even to sign them outside the window.
Yeah, I don't think the rule will change. The question is whether is there a way in which we can better align our windows, because I think windows are a FIFA standard and each league has slightly different timings of those. And what is difficult for us is it is a function of our season going in the calendar year as opposed to the middle of the year. So the most active window for us is in the winter, and it is the opposite in the summer for the European leagues and a lot of the leagues with whom we're interacting in transfers and things like that. So we had this issue last year with Diego Rossi that we want to sell players when our window's open so that we can replace immediately, and that's not always a luxury that we have. So the question isn't whether we'll be able to have the freedom to sign players outside of our window. The question will be, is there a formula that is a better balance? And that is the question. And I hope so, but I know that these things are in conversation really easy to think that you could solve them, but in practice is more difficult than we think. Oh, she's here.
I'm here, sorry. That's the first question. In terms of Cristian and his formation as a soccer player, having that Barcelona background, you also have Ilya here that has that. How do they fit into that idea of what LAFC wants? I remember at the time Bob Bradley made a comparison in a sense that they liked the pace, the speed, having a kind of the ball and so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overly flatter ourselves and say we're Barcelona. However, when you think about principles and style of play and a player's formation, their education, their formation, when it comes at a place like Barcelona, for us that is really appealing. So Ilya is an example. He fits how we want that position to be played, and that's not to say a player needs to be at Barcelona, but certainly that we know the foundation and the footballing education they receive while there. And for us, not just at Barcelona, but at other places, when you watch how Cristian plays, you can very easily translate how that'll fit with LAFC. With other players, we've done it, and it's more an exercise of translation. It's a more difficult one to say, well, that team in the league that player comes from, and that team, they are typically not controlling a game, or they play a different style, and that is a bigger reach for us. With Cristian, it's a fairly obvious fit because of how he plays, where he plays, the places he's played, but and as an individual, and then also how the teams where he's had great success, how those teams have played, there's a lot of overlap in what we try to do. So that enabled this to be, as I said when I was answering Vince's question, that's enabled this to be a more streamlined conversation and process than there otherwise would be when you're trying to take a team where there's no alignment of our playing style philosophy to try to picture what it would look like here. It made for an easier scouting process.
Looking at the roster, there's of course a lot of depth, especially with the attackers, and right now we can have two starting tridents in attack. So how do you see all of the pieces just coming together? Because it's a short turnaround, and then having to get to know each other.
Yeah, again, the getting to know each other and the integration of and how you incorporate these players. I mean, we've seen it most recently with Dennis. We threw him into a game, having not trained with the team, and then he was able to get his first start at home, which we think went really well. And that, again, a lot of that groundwork and that exercise is done before the player gets here to think how they can fit in. But players come in, different backgrounds, they're at different stages of their physical readiness to play. And so you do have to take everything on a case-by-case basis. But if we are right in the players, and with how much I trust our scouts and our scouting process, and then the job the staff does here, we think the staff here does a really good job incorporating players quickly, and obviously we don't have much of our season left, but we have the most important part of our season left. So I'm confident that these players, Cristian, Dennis, you're starting to see it more with Seba, Gareth, and Giorgio were here at the beginning of the window, so they're further along in terms of their integration. But the staff here does a great job with that, but a lot of that groundwork is done before the player even gets here. I mean, we have a staff member that I'll call out, Cristian, who goes and travels with them to do their immigration, gets to know the family, and he really helps sort of pave that road before the player even gets here. And that's not just Cristian, but the rest of our staff. So we're confident that we're in real crunch time. This team's in a great spot to win things this year, and we think that these players will get up to speed quickly to help us with those ambitions.
Thank you. We'll take questions. Starting with Alfredo.
Thank you, Cristian. ¿Qué tal, John? Buenas tardes, un gusto saludarte. Muchas gracias por tu tiempo.
Buenas tardes.
Con todos los 5 jugadores que has traído vienen de Europa, ¿no? Y es evidente que traen otro nivel, ¿no? Que vienen del fútbol del primer mundo. ¿Cómo beneficia la llegada de Giorgio, Gareth, en este caso Cristian? ¿Cómo benefician al equipo y lo potencializan para que sean candidatos al título?
Sí, bueno, gracias por la pregunta. Para mí, las cosas que estos jugadores pueden hacer en la cancha son obvios, ¿no? Que tienen la calidad. Ellos han jugado en mundiales, en Champions League, en ligas muy competitivas en el mundo. Y por nosotros no solo esa calidad va a beneficiar a LAFC, pero el carácter de estos jugadores. Y por nosotros que todavía tenemos un modelo, que tenemos estos jóvenes como Cifuentes, Palacios y otros, para traer a jugadores con esa experiencia, ese liderazgo, nos beneficia porque ellos pueden mostrarles a estos jóvenes no solo cómo podemos ganar aquí, pero para mostrar la ruta al, como sea, el top del mundo de fútbol. Tenemos jugadores ya que tiene trofeos que ha ganado el Mundial, que ha ganado Champions League, y la experiencia que ellos pueden compartir con nuestro grupo es algo que va a dar beneficio siempre a LAFC, y no solo en la calidad que va a darnos en la cancha, pero ese ejemplo que puede ver los jóvenes cada día.
Oye, y clarificar la situación de Cristian, ya está lo de la visa, él está disponible para jugar mañana, ¿cómo está eso?
Sí, él está listo. Sí, él ya tiene todos los documentos. Obviamente la decisión de incorporarlo en los partidos es la decisión del cuerpo técnico, pero él está listo y olvidable a jugar.
Muchas gracias, John.
No.
Go ahead, Alex, coming here.
Tienes, Cristóbal. Hola, buenas tardes, John. ¿Cómo le va? Es un gusto saludarle. Usted acaba de mencionar a Chiqui Palacios y a Sifu.